All right. We're live. All right. Welcome to Owning Divorce. I'm Aaron Katz.
I'm Curtis Pryce.
All right. So if you want to, you can follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. Owning Divorce is the name of the page or whatever, the group, whatever it is on Instagram, and same thing on Facebook. I ask that you go by the golden rule if you join those, and just don't be an asshole. Nothing mean-spirited, racist, misogynistic, anything along those lines, because if so, I'm going to boot you. We also have
And
some other groups. Curtis, you want to talk about them?
check down in the description for all of our links to the social media.
Oh, wow. I did not know you did that. Good for you, man. You're
Thank
you're taking the initiative on this. You are so much more organized about this. I am super impressed. Um, so Yesterday we did a brief recording. We kind of talked a little bit about the show, our goals with it. So if you're a little confused, watch it. It's about 15 minutes, talking a little bit about ground rules and where we want to go with the show. Today, I figured we kind of kick it off a little bit, talking about our experiences with divorce. As I mentioned in the previous show, and I'm going to continually mention, the whole point of this is that for me, and I'm pretty sure for you too, divorce kind of kicks ass. Everyone said how horrible it would be. And 2 years later, as of tomorrow, January 15th, at least according to the divorce documents, I've been free. And every day, even in bad days, and 2020, 2021, there's a lot of dark things going on. But every single day I get up,
Congrats.
I go into the shower, man, and that shower has water pressure, and it did not when she lived here. And that was due to her own stubbornness. So we moved into this place together. We bought it together. And it was a brand new townhouse, very Seattle thing to do. And I was really excited. The place was really good. And in the master suite, I turned on the shower the first day, and I'm really excited, like, heated floors and big shower and one of these heads that has several settings, and it comes off. And like the water just dribbles out. And I'm like, what? I was like, what's going on? And when we bought the house, they mentioned that they put a water saving device in it. Now, I don't know what a water saving device is. I'm in software. So like the virtual world, I rock. I know all about it, man. I can write code that does things that, and virtual world, but real life, completely lost to me. So, I talked to my ex about it and I said, we have a 1-year warranty on the place. They're going to fix stuff. So why don't we have them remove the water saving device? And for some reason, she said no. We put together a list of other things for them to fix, and they fixed them, but she refused with that shower. So for the first 2 years of living in this place, first 3 years of living in this place, I showered in the guest bathroom, which is right behind me over here. It was cold, and this little drip. And a couple months after we split, we were talking about divorce proceedings, and I mentioned to someone that the value of the house based on our mortgage, and the mortgage company, and responded, that's inflated. I'm like, what do you mean it's inflated? Mortgage companies always inflate the value of their house for insurance purposes, but you need to get someone to reevaluate the house. So I called someone, and first of all, it was great because it knocked off about 60 grand off the price of the house, which made, my end a lot easier. And, I'm pointing them out because I'm like, if there's a big problem in the master suite shower, I mean, that's like 30, 40 grand in work because you got to open the wall and pipe and who knows what it's going to be like. And I said, there's a water saving device in it. I don't know what that means. He's like, oh, you can just pop that off really quickly. I was like, oh, cool. So we unscrew the shower head. And turns out there's a piece of felt this thick in the shower head. When they make it in the factory, they put a little piece of felt in it so nothing comes into it. And the idiot who installed it forgot to take the felt out. So for 2 or 3 years, this piece of felt was filtering out 90% of the water coming in. And the next morning I turned on that shower, and it was the most amazing shower that I've had in years. So every day when I get in that shower, I'm like, oh, she's gone, and I have a hot, hot shower that's right next to my bedroom. I no longer have to go down a flight of stairs, which, not that big deal, but there's something about just rolling out of your bed, turning on the shower, and nice and warm. I think there's like a metaphor for my marriage in there somewhere. So pre-divorce, if you asked me the morning of Jan 15th, 2019, asked me about my ex, I'd say maybe it's like Stockholm syndrome, but I'd say like she is the love of my life. Everything I do is for her. She makes my life better. I don't know what I do without her. Like the morning of. And my life was kind of sad. I just figured certain people in life aren't meant to be happy. Certain people in life are meant to be, co-stars in other people's lives. I followed her out to Southern California for a job. I followed her into, the UCLA housing because she got into UCLA. And then I followed her up to Seattle because of grad school. The first two, moving from Boston to Southern California, I mean, who's not going to take that, right? But moving up to Seattle, man, that was cold and depressing. I love Seattle now, but it took a while. And
SoCal's still best.
Oh, dude, I miss. So I'm just gonna say this right now, though. Like, at least we have outdoor dining at this point, and we've had
Freezing outdoor dining.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I'll admit it. I've breaking quarantine. I've dated a ton during quarantine. I've taken a lot of women to bars and restaurants, and they're like, "Oh, places are open," and it has helped me get many attractive women back to my place. And you guys can fill in the dots from there. So yeah, I gotta say, like, that's kind of cool. And
that is.
Our governor hasn't been busted, at fancy in quarantine. He's been consistent. But you guys got the weather down there. So, and the beaches. I miss the beaches.
So, great. Come visit in the summer.
Oh, dude. Oh, you know what? I might come down in a couple months. My nephew is graduating high school.
Oh, wow.
So if it is post-apocalyptic, and the apocalypse, might come down to San Diego, and then we can do a show in the same studio instead of.
Awesome, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, like most stupid fights, usually have to deal with social media. Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all these things. I call it the stupid because people just shout at each other, and it's not about sitting and talking about different opinions. Me and you, we've talked, a couple of different things that we disagree on over the years, and it's always been very polite and kind of just an exchange of ideas. But on social media, it's like, no, I'm right, you're wrong, and you're, I don't know, a communist or a fascist or this or that, right? And it was that goddamn Gillette ad, the men can do better ad or whatever it is, which annoyed me on so many levels. So I don't know about you, but when I turned 18, I got a package in the mail from Gillette with a razor and shaving cream and a little like welcome to manhood. You did not. Oh,
no, never heard of that. Wow.
Really?
Welcome to manhood.
Yeah. I thought I imagined it, but I talked to a lot of other people and they got it too. Maybe you're just not on the man list, I guess.
I missed it, man. Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. It was my 18th birthday and like a letter from Gillette. And it was before Mach 3. It was the one they had right before that. It was still really good, and some shaving cream. And it was the first time I ever shaved with a non-electric razor. And they had me as a customer for till my mid 30s. Then I started joining some of the subscription ones. Because Gillette it was expensive. Razors were hard to find for the Mach 3 because they wanted to do whatever, like I think they're like 6 or 8 blades by now, right? And these subscriptions, they were just cheaper, and the razors weren't as good, the ones that I used, although I have a great one now that I use. As a result of, once Gillette came out with this shit, all the other subscription ads started showing up on Facebook. And I love the razor I have right now. Starts with the D, ends with Fender, And if they ever want to sponsor us in any way, shape, or form, I will be happy to sing their praises because they're awesome. I have friends who actually have asked me if they pay me because, dude, I love shaving, man. I love it, man. It's awesome. They're the only ones who get it. I've shaved with a bunch of different companies, and yeah, I get the hairs right here under your nose, which are impossible to get with other razors.
Is it like a safety razor or electric?
Safety.
Safety razor. Okay.
Disposable, but
I'm
they last
lazy.
forever. What?
I'm lazy. I need the electric.
Oh, dude, I love. So I just gonna put this out there. I love shaving, man. I love like your face getting all nice and warm and putting the shaving cream on, and dude, I don't know,
I do
man.
miss lathering.
What? Yeah.
I definitely miss lathering.
Nice. Yeah. Anyway, this show's not about shaving, but anyway, some people were posting about how like amazing this commercial is and how intuitive it is and how society needs to change. And I read this article on, I think it was Forbes, but it could have been Bloomberg. It showed up on my newsfeed, and it was saying Gillette is losing market share to these subscription companies. So they're launching a new line with this to build interest because they did research and they found out that women still do most of the shopping. So they will see it and they will buy their men razors, and men will then use Gillette, which is kind of the opposite of the message from it, but it made sense. And somehow, I don't know, we just started getting into arguments over stupid things. I got home from work that day, and she was just gearing up for a fight. You know, she was angry, she was steamed. And I said, hey, I don't really want to fight about this. And she was all into it. And she used the word toxic masculinity, which, if you use a term that most people of that group find offensive, maybe you should use a new word. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not trying to rant about this stuff. I mean, I think there's always things that could be improved, but I don't know. I'm not going to use terms like that for any other group. But I grabbed my laptop. I had some stuff I had to do for work, and I went to a bar that has a Wi-Fi around me, and I got a beer, and I just pounding away like an angry monkey on my keyboard because that's my job. And I got a text from her. She said, I'm really angry. I'm going to spend a couple days at my mom's. It's like, okay, right. I'd love to say like I said something classy, like, I'm sorry that you feel this way. I want to work it out, whatever. But I think I just gave her a thumbs up. Like, yeah. So I ended up buying a pack of cigarettes, which I occasionally do when I'm really stressed out. And I remember walking home when there was this homeless guy that me and him got into a conversation about it. It was weird. He said he was a bodybuilder, and he showed me pictures of him at bodybuilding competitions. So it's like, you know, this big, bulky, muscular dude, and I don't know, they wear those bikini things, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know you, man. Why are you showing this to me?
Did he just have them like folded up in his pocket?
No, he had it on his phone.
A homeless man with the phone. Trip out.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Oh, everyone has phones now.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. You didn't know this? Yeah, I
No.
mean, maybe Seattle's more tech savvy than Southern California.
Are they smartphones?
Yeah. iPhones.
What?
Yeah. So in the park a couple blocks away from me, they have they have lock panels over them, but they're plugs to charge things. And homeless people repeatedly like just rip the locks off of it, and they charge their phones on the city's dime. I mean, hey,
Wow.
good for them, man. If the city can't figure out a way to keep their electricity bill down, as long as someone takes advantage of it, that's cool. So I went home, walked the dog, had another cigarette, and the last thing the homeless guy said to me was, the love of a good woman is like unmeasurable or incredibly important or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, I agreed with him. And I figured like me and my ex would take a couple days and just kind of mellow out a little bit, and then everything would be cool.
Did you tell him what was going on in your life?
What?
Did you tell him what was going on in your life?
I just told him me and my ex had a fight. I'm not going to tell a homeless guy my life story. I mean, I probably wouldn't have heard. I mean, I never saw the guy again. I didn't even know what was going on in my life. I had no idea how happy I was. was. It took me a couple days to realize, like, wow, I was really, really miserable. But that night, I get the best sleep that I've had in a decade. You know, I remember sleeping like for the last 10 years. I always remember getting up in the middle of the night and being uncomfortable sleeping and kind of having a couple restless nights. And I woke up feeling refreshed. And I had this pain right here in my jaw from 6 months before. It was gone and it's never come back. Just overnight, bam, disappeared.
Oh.
And I'm like, wow, I was grinding my teeth when I sleep. And I started thinking about it. And, you know, I kind of mentioned the first show, I do have a little issues with anxiety. So I got back on my anxiety meds and it took a couple of days to kick in. But once it did, all of a sudden I had clarity of how unhappy I was. You know, I think for me, the initial rush of, you know, anxiety, it kind of takes everything else. It's panic. But once I get that under control, I could kind of think things out. And 3 days later, she came in. And I remember actually still using that shower behind me. And I got out of the shower and she was playing with the dog, who right now wants me to play with her. She's like, Dad, pay attention to me. That's why my hand is moving like this. She's very sweet.
Sure.
Yeah. And 55 pounds of goofy love. That's my dog. So we started talking a little bit and she brought up marriage counseling and I just said no. I'm like, do you really see a point to it? And she's like, well, if you're not into it, I don't see a point either. And I'm like, yeah, there's no point. I think we should get divorced. Felt weird saying that, but all of a sudden, like once you said it, it was like, wow, I feel good. I really think that I've had a couple people say this to me, that she thought that I'd freak out and I just buckle and she could come back in and she just, you know, have her way, whatever it is. Like, but I think I got to a point where I realized, like, I was surrounded by her friends and her family constantly. Every week, we spend an hour, half an hour there, half an hour back, going to her mom's house and spending time there. And it was weird. I was surrounded by people, but I've never been so lonely in my life. Like I just felt so out of place. I'd sing the Pokemon song in my head, basically, because I don't know why, but like I started thinking of episodes I watched in college and started analyzing it and being like, was that like slavery and animal abuse? Like there was some shit going on with Pokemon, man. Like they sold some pretty dark things to kids. So that's basically what was going on through my mind, because I didn't feel like talking to anyone. I just felt so alone. And as soon as she left, I'm like, cool, I know I'm getting divorced. So I started calling people. I did not call you. And the reason why is because your ex and my ex are friends. And I didn't want to put you in an uncomfortable position until I knew it was going on. What?
You motherfucker.
I'm an asshole. I'm a total asshole. But I called a couple of my friends and my parents, and every time I told someone that I'm getting divorced, I felt so much better. This amazing weight just lifted on me. I felt myself kind of like just something that was dormant inside of me, that was happiness that I didn't even know existed in me, started coming out. And that night, a buddy of mine said, hey, let's grab a beer. We can talk about it. So we grabbed a beer and he asked me, how am I doing? And my response is, I'm really worried about my ex. She's living in her mom's basement. Things are kind of hard on her right now. I hope she's doing okay. And he looks at me again and says, no, how are you doing? And I repeat myself. And then he says, no. I want you to think about this for a second. All right. How are you, not your ex, how are you doing? And I thought about it and I smiled and I'm like, I have control of my life. I've never had that before.
Wow.
Before I met her in college. I had roommates that I had to deal with. And before that, it was my parents. And, it was good. I'm not going to say, I had a happy childhood and all that other good stuff. But I've never had the freedoms of my own life. And it's this weird thing, like I have control over my future. I had no plan for the future. I'm just like, I'm going to put money to the side, and at some point she's going to get sick of working, and I don't know what the hell we're going to do. But now it's like, oh, I can retire early if I want to. I can sell the house. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things, and I got really excited about it. And like really, really minor things started making me really, really happy. So my ex was allergic to scents, so all the cleaning supplies were unscented, and she cleaned with vinegar and water, which was a god awful smell. And I ended up going to the store and getting scented sprays. And the first time I'm wiping down my kitchen, and I'm like, oh, this smells good. I just had this big grin on my face when I'm cooking or cleaning or any of this stuff, and it's like all this freedom. And that's when it kind of hit me that a buddy of mine's mom had the best line, and I'm not even close with her. This is all from what she hears from my buddy, and he said, I spent most of my life following around my ex, and the second I started having my own opinions on things, she decided she couldn't be around me anymore. And I think there's a level of that. Now, my ex, whatever, I don't think she's a horrible person. I think she has her issues that she has to deal with. And as I said on the first show, I'm indifferent towards her. I hope she finds happiness, and that'd be great. But I'd also wouldn't have any, like, if someone said she got hit by a bus, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like, I don't think I'd have a reaction to it or anything like that. So that's kind of like the beginning of my journey. I don't know what you want to call it. Kind of very different from yours. Yours, first of all, you had quarantine called right as it started. So tell the audience about that. I'm sure they'll love to hear about it.
Yeah. She told me that she wanted to get divorced, I think, on Tuesday, and the state went into lockdown on Friday. Made for a ton of fun. But I'll back up just to kind of share how things kind of fell apart between us.
Yeah.
And then kind of what I've discovered since then in retrospect. But she was a great partner. We accomplished a lot together, and we had like a good working relationship. She was very ambitious, and early on, even before I don't even know if she was my girlfriend at the time, but I thought we were going to break up, and I could spend an hour on that story alone. But I thought we were done, to be honest. And randomly, this girl that I had a crush on, I've known her since like college, early college. But I was married at that time to somebody else, and or dating, I think. I kind of had this like I had this ongoing crush on her. She hit me up and was like, "Hey, let's go drinking." And I thought, my most recent ex was over.
Yeah.
She went out of town suddenly. She was in a bad mood. I thought we were over. We'd only been, serious for maybe, like exclusively dating for maybe a month or two. And so this girl hits me up out of the blue. We go drinking, and she tried to seduce me, and we ended up sleeping together. And so I came to my ex and I said, "Hey, I promise I'll never do that again. I made a mistake. I want to be with you." She forgave me, and I kept that promise. But what happened after that is we stopped. I really withdrew like my sexuality, and I tend to be adventurous. It's a big part of my personality. It's a big part of what's going on in my head all the time. And I withdrew it because like I couldn't even mention that person's name anymore. I had to buy a new bed, like all these things. She couldn't deal with like moving past it, I think.
So mind if I interject real quick?
No, go ahead.
So you thought that you guys were on the verge of breaking up when you were met with this other woman.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, maybe this is a guy's point of view on it, but did you really do anything wrong? I mean, it's different if, first of all, you guys were together for like a month at that point, exclusively dating. Right. And if I was with someone for a month exclusively dating and there were problems, and I've done this the last, year and a half of dating, like a month or two into it, and there's problems, I'm like, this isn't worth it for me, right? And, you guys were on the outs. So I don't know, man. I don't think you did anything wrong, but maybe, but what do I know,
Yeah,
right?
it's tough for me. It was selfish. She had been my best friend for probably 6 months at that point, maybe 9 months. We had a friendship. Um, I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I
Yeah.
would I even do it again? I don't know. But I ended up pulling back my sex because
Yeah.
I love to chase. I love pursuing. And anytime I would do that with her afterwards, I could feel it like weirding her out. I think it reminded her of me being with that other chick. So I,
Oh,
I pulled it back, and that was early on. That was even before we were like committed boyfriend, girlfriend. We
oh,
later
wow.
got married. We spent over 13 years together.
I remember I was
Uh,
at your wedding.
yeah. So
Your
I felt
dad
really,
was your dad was really funny. He was going around saying, "Look at all these good-looking kids. Look at all these good-looking young people."
he knows
So
how to work the crowd. He gets the crowd going.
yeah, he's a funny guy.
um, so I pulled that back and we lost a lot of that affection. It was sustainable for a long time, but then she got pregnant and we almost, we probably had sex a few times, but between her being pregnant and my daughter being a year, we almost went without sex for that 2-year period. Um,
Wow.
that's not easy for me. I killed 4,000 fleshlights. I just destroying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it got really rough after that. If there was a year or a couple of years, I think, where she was like postpartum and kind of depressed, kind of finding herself. I got chronic illness that was crazy,
I
and we just had
remember
some hard times. And what it drew up though were those issues. And what I started finding is like she could not she'd get freaked out anytime I brought up my needs, anytime I talked about my need for, and not just sex, but affection and closeness and intimacy, emotional intimacy, physical intimacy. It would freak her out. It'd get her triggered. And she wouldn't make space for me to talk about it. I couldn't bring it up for her.
that.
And I ended up going on a work trip. It was a training, and I met this chick there. She's a like competitive female bodybuilder. Not quite the right word because she wasn't like jacked, but she was like fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Um, and she started coming on to me pretty hard. We really connected, and she was coming on to me physically. She was starting to lean in, and I told her, like, I need you to stop. Like, I'm flattered. You're gorgeous. We are vibing, but I made a mistake before. I promised I'd never do this again. I can't do it. Um, and I really thought about it. And when I came home, I told my ex, I had this great experience connected with this woman. I need that from you. Like, I need you to
Yeah.
flirt with me. I need you to like give me attention like this. And all she could say was like, don't talk to that woman anymore, cut her off. And I was like, no, 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 I don't want to make this about the woman because we did that last time
Right. Right. Right.
and
Right.
it didn't solve the issue between us. I need you to do this for me. And she just couldn't. Um, I think there's a parallel with what you were saying. Like once you start expressing your opinion, your ex can accept it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Mine was a little different. So to give my ex credit, she did try um, hard to get our sex life going, which is why I kind of thought it was me. Um, and I don't know, maybe at a later point, I'll go into a little more details. I mentioned some things to friends at bars, and they're like, what? But I mean, she tried. And I realized later that I like the romance of it. I like to casually be like relaxed into sex. What really gets like I had this my second experience. This woman, I told her I said I don't know if I'm ready yet. And she kind of started rubbing my shoulders and unbuttoned my shirt and just started kissing me gently on, my back of my shoulder, and that's really what gets me going.
sweet.
Me and my ex, we did the handcuffs and tying up and ball gags and dresses, and I mean, she did all this stuff. Whatever. She tried a lot of things to get me going, and it just kind of went down this dark hole that I really didn't enjoy. I think, one of the things that we contrast is our different styles. Like, I think maybe, well, I mean, when you eventually talk about your current, it's kind of very different where I don't know, I kind of like the softer side of sex. I like it to be very, I don't even know how to describe it, man. Like a Barry White song, basically, right? Like just kind of, yeah. I think that's
I
the
dig
best
it, man.
description.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Booty music.
yeah. Just like, one of the women that I dated, said like we were having sex, like she felt like I was like seeing into her soul.
Awesome.
And it's just kind of the way that I like it. I like it kind of like, but yeah. That's for that. What we had, what went south with my marriage. There's a couple things that happened. First, her dad died of cancer about 2014, 2015. And he was a big influence in her life and really helped her stay level-headed. And she lost that. Then Trump got elected, and like the rest of America, she got a little broken from that. And I've never been a very political person. I have my opinions. I'll talk about them. I think everyone's a little bit right and a lot of wrong. Oh man, although right now there's people that are absolutely not right at all about things. And she got all these ideas and things, and I'm okay. My job's not to convince people to come around to my way. I'll explain my point of view. And if you have questions, I'll go into that a little bit, but I don't like converting people. It's not my thing. And she came to this conclusion that if she just explained to me the thing the right way, I'd come around to it.
Yeah.
I just told her, I'm like, let's not talk about this. Every time we talk about this, we get into a fight. And she's like, well, we need to be able to talk about this. And I'm like, no, we don't. And she couldn't let it go. I don't think I'm, I'd say it's like 70-30, like 70% her fault, 30% my fault. Like I definitely became a little angry and more uptight of a person. I mean, I was grinding my teeth in my sleep, man. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of, so yeah, I mean, like I think contrasting our different experiences, like there seem to be common themes with it,
Yeah.
but also differences, I guess,
It, really for me after, my new relationship with my girlfriend now, she really holds space for me to like talk about my feelings. And it's so weird, like to have somebody like, she's not threatened by my feelings. She allows me to express them. And that's really been a huge change. And she's also given me the space to like explore kink and BDSM and, an open relationship and stuff like that, which has really allowed me to find myself and find what I actually want from life and what I want to do in my free time. And it's refreshing. It's really amazing.
I have all the respect in the world for you, man, but I do not understand your stuff at all, man. Like you talk about this, and I'm happy that you found it, but it just seems so alien and weird to me. But I guess what I'm trying to do seems alien and weird to you, so it all works out at the end.
I can understand it. I got respect for it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm freaky that way. It's funny because I was talking to you and my other buddy, and I was like, oh, maybe I am kinky. Like I didn't know.
Ooh. Yeah. So for me, after it was done, after she left, I started, my friends and family and people were saying like, wow, we haven't seen you this energetic and happy in years. And I made a big deal of contrasting my 40th and my 41st birthday. My 40th, I was with my ex, and she actually surprised me by flying, convincing some of my good friends from Chicago to fly in. And I woke up that morning on my 40th birthday and thought, I'm content with life. Like life's okay. I'm never gonna be happy, but like content is good. Like I'm not depressed. I'm not sad. I'm not having horrible thoughts about doing things to myself. So, I'm going to ride this out for another 40, 50 years and it'll be all right,
Yeah.
And compare this to my 41st birthday, where I woke up and I was just ecstatic. I had people over. It was a lot of fun. I was just like loving life. And this was a week after I broke up. Well, she broke up with me. It was the first woman that I dated. And I'll refer to her as the goddess because that's what I thought of her as. About a week before, she just said, yeah, it's not working out. And I was crushed. And even with that, and my buddies like to joke around. I'm like, you're more upset about this woman breaking up with you than your divorce. I'm like, yeah, I couldn't wait to get rid of my ex. This woman, like, I really thought that she was the one. I thought like, okay, here's a woman for me. Oh God, she was tall and skinny. She was from Ethiopia. And I've always had this thing for women from Ethiopia and women from India. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying like all other women are ugly. I've dated a fair amount of other women. I'm dating a fair amount of other women now, but women from those two countries, I've always had like a thing for. And she was very soft spoken and, but she had her opinions on things. It's not like I run right over her. And she was just, I don't know. It was cool. Like, I lost some fat and gained muscle when my ex moved out. I kind of lost the ability. Like, I still went to the gym on a regular basis. I just didn't really care that much. And as soon as she left, I'm like, oh, I got a date at some point. So I probably should get more in shape. And, let me preface this with, when she walked out, I figured I'm never having sex again anyway. But I figured my friends were like, well, at least give it a shot. And I'm like, well, if I hate dating, I'm not going to do it. And they're like, well, just give it a shot for a little bit, see what it's like. I figure I'd be, what's the word? Incel without being angry, right? Except for I wouldn't be voluntary, it'd be involuntarily celibate. Yeah, I just figured like that would be my life. And then it was weird. I started, my ex was big on cheeses and carbs. So she'd make these salads with kale, which I hate kale, and put blue cheese on it, right? Which I guess I don't know why I don't know, it just kind of cancels out the effect of it. And then she'd make homemade pizza, which is cool. And she'd use whole grain dough, but it's still carby.
Yeah.
And I started eating whole ingredients. So animal protein and vegetables and fruit is primarily my diet. Although I do love chocolate chip cookie dough. I will polish it off like it's no tomorrow. So I lost a lot of fat and I put on muscle. My body fat just dropped overnight at the gym from, what was it, like 22% to about 15% over the course of 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Now it's even lower, man. Dude,
Nice.
I got
I'm jealous.
abs. I am proud. I have abs and I love it. And I'm feeling all buff. I'm not yoked. I'm not a big dude, but the women, they like the muscles, man. They like the
I
muscles.
know. They like the abs too. I want one. My goal is to have them by January, and I
By
probably got
January.
another 3 months.
You got to work, man. You got to work for them, dude.
I lost 15 pounds. Probably stress, and then also focused on, wow, I got to start dating again.
Right.
So I got really focused. I lost 15 pounds, but I put that all back on dating, like going out to eat with all of them, and so.
Oh yeah. No, I've God, the alcoholic is when I was dating her, she massage therapist and chef. She's in finance now, or she was in finance when I was dating her. But the reason why, like, I have a couple buddies in recovery, and I was telling them about their drinking problems. I said, well, she's not an alcoholic because it's not a disease, but she's got a drinking problem. And I'm like, but she cooks lots of food and gives me massages. Like, and they're like, nothing good can come of this. I'm like, but massages and food. And they're like, yeah. And then they're like,
I got to
no,
put
no,
the word
no,
out there for the massage therapists. They are having that at home is an asset.
Oh, Jesus, man. Yeah. I was thinking about like once the apocalypse ends, not going back. One of my buddies is my massage therapist. I've been seeing him for about 7, 8 years right now. And dude is awesome. But I'm like, if I have a girlfriend at home who can do it for free, like, yo, nothing personal, dude, but I'm gonna take the hot woman who, does other things too versus, my buddy who I grab beers with. And he's a good guy. He knows what he's doing, but
For sure. I can sleep with you. I can cuddle you, and you can heal me.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, but yeah, I've managed to keep off, I run, I've gotten into running. Like I run these insane, like 9.5 mile runs, about an hour and a half, like 2, 3 times a week. Basically when it's
Wow.
not raining in Seattle, which isn't really right now, but during the summers, and just kind of got in shape from that. And then lifting, once the apocalypse happened and my gym closed down. My gym reopened this last week, so I'm super happy about
Congrats,
that. I
man.
worked out tonight, did some deadlifting,
Nice.
deadlifts, but I got weights at home and a bench. Just keep it going. And it's so when women, like I don't think I'm big enough to actually show off me being muscular on my dating profile. And everyone's told me, do not put a picture of yourself shirtless. Like it'll just, a lot of women be like, nope. So women, when, we're fooling around and getting intimate and stuff, I take their hand and they're thinking that I'm going to put it down my pants because that's what most guys do. Instead, I put it up so they feel my abs and their eyes bug out. And they're like, what's this? I don't know what's going on. Oh, dude, I'm just like,
Good move,
yeah,
man.
I mean, that kind of gets in a little bit about dating and different strategies and things that you use. And I don't know, I feel like I've had success. I mean, I haven't had the relationship, but I'm okay with that at this point. I was with someone for 20 years and um, I really thought when she walked out that, okay, this is going to sound a little dickish, but when we agreed to divorce, was the first time I didn't see her as that 18-year-old I met at a college party, right? I always had that picture kind of like an image superimposed over who she was, right? Her 18-year-old face. And I put all of her stuff that she left here in a box, and there's this drop dead sexy picture of her when she was like, I don't know, 23, 24. I got her this t-shirt that said, look at my tits when you're talking to me. And she had her hair all wet and her chest forward. She took these great pictures, and I'm like, yo, that is the woman, right? But over time it changed, and pictures in her 30s, she's got, especially after her dad passed, she has this like really sour look on her face. Just kind of angry, and I think she lost something, and she changed who she was. And it's like she's not the woman that I married, which is why right now I'm like, whatever, right? But I really thought that when I looked at her, and I'm like, holy crap, that's who I'm married to. I'm probably not that good looking of a guy. Was like my reaction. Like I looked at her, I'm like, I still don't think I'm that great looking of a guy. And thank you, mom and dad, for pointing out my bald spot. First time I see you guys post divorce. All my friends, all my coworkers, no,
Get a
we don't
bald
see a
spot?
bald spot on you. What? Oh yeah,
You
right
get a
here,
bald
man.
spot?
It's like big, like the size,
Wow.
man. I know.
I can't see it.
Yeah, well, you can't see it from the front, but
Yeah.
show it from the back. No, it's noticeable, man. I don't even try to hide it. I kind of subtly hide it, try to hide it a little bit, but I'm pretty open and honest on dates about it.
There's creams and
Once
pills.
I get to know them, what?
There's creams and pills if you care enough.
Not once it's dead on top. I tried.
What'd you
I tried
use?
Rogaine.
Oh,
I tried Rogaine for 6 months, and
wow.
so
There's also a
it
medication called finsteride.
I tried that too.
Wow. Really? Okay. You're
And
gone. It's
finsteride did
done.
not help me in the department either.
Finsteride messed me
Um,
up emotionally.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was like I was on my period. I was just super
Oh,
emotional,
Jesus.
kind of depressed.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, no, it totally killed my sex drive. I went on it right after the divorce because I saw that and I'm like, well, it helped bring it back in Rogaine and stuff, and it did nothing for me. So I made the dumb mistake, and you saw this. I shaved my head bald when I was dating the alcoholic because I figured I'd be with her for a while. So I'm like, fuck it. And then I broke up with her a week later, and I'm like, oh shit. I really, really regret shaving my head. It was not a good look for me, man. And I like took the straight razor and like, oh man. You know, I look like a goddamn pinhead, man. I need some hair.
I definitely need hair.
Yeah, it looks good, you know. So, you know, 3 weeks after me and my ex split, I went down to visit my folks. My parents live in Chicago, but during the winter, because they're retired, they spend it in San Diego because, you know, San Diego is really nice and warm and Chicago is really cold. So I'm walking down the stairs in my parents' condo, and my dad's right behind me. He's like, you have my bald spot. I'm like, oh, great. It's like, yeah. And he started hanging out. It's like, hey, two baldies hanging out. And I'm like, oh man. I'm thinking, there's no way I'm ever having sex again, man. This is just not happening. And then 2 weeks later, I'm at a family event, and my mom sees it, and she's like, oh, you got grandpa, her dad's bald spot. And I'm like, oh, so I'm doubly fucked.
Yeah.
Family. But the good news is it's only up here. It doesn't spread anywhere else. So I don't think I'm going to go balder. If I do, I might be vain enough to go to like Bosley or whatever it is. I don't know if that actually works, but I don't know, man. I think there's something. If I could do it like a Vin Diesel or a Rock and just like look really good, you know, I figure like if I could bulk up like
Jason Statham,
pounds, look good. Jason Statham, right?
Yeah.
Like you see pictures of them with their hair and they look horrible, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, they rock, but not me, man. I need the hair.
I think it's right. If you're like, you got to be big, right? You got to look big.
Yeah. You gotta look like a baller, man. You gotta look like you're ready to just go into a fight and just fuck someone up. And you know, I'm just not intimidating looking. You know, I've come to that realization. No one's ever gonna see me and be like, I don't want to mess with that dude. You know?
Maybe with those 30 pounds.
Yeah, well, I think I'd need some serious steroids to do that at this point in my life. You know, always trying to bulk up a little bit. Spoke to my doc recently, mentioned a couple of things that I can do, but you know, I'm like 150 right now. And my ideal goal to be like a really solid 160 with the same body fat that I have right now, maybe even a little lower. But I mean, you know, I'm never gonna be like 180 and like 9% body fat or something like that. Like it's just not available on this frame. Yeah, and I've accepted it, you know. So I don't know.
I'm 200, but I'm probably at like 16, 17%. For me to get down, me at 170 is probably me at about 9%.
Damn. Not bad. Yeah, I got down to 10.5 at 149 September 2019. I went to one of the fancy gyms in Seattle and had it like this crazy machine take it, and I'm like, oh crap, that's kind of cool. So you know, I've kind of stayed in the 13 to 15 range since then. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, the ladies seem to like the muscles, man. I think like, so at our age, dating, it's very different than, you know, dating in your teens or 20s. I think women have a very different set of expectations. And most guys that I talk to who date like my age, like, I don't think they get it. They don't get how to do well on the dating game. And maybe I'm just lucky, or my theory is that I'm punching up, which is why I'm dating all these women and sleeping with them, but not ending up in any relationships, which I'm totally cool with. Like, hey, if I do this the rest of my life, like I'm ecstatic about it. You know, I think I stand out in Seattle where guys are just not assertive on dates. You know, I've been on a lot of dates where the woman's just talking and I just reach across the table or I just pull her close and I just start making out. And women are just like, yeah, cool. Like, this isn't just a friendship thing. Like, the guy's trying to put some effort and some romance into it. And usually after a couple of dates, women come to their senses, I think, and look at me and be like, maybe not. And I'm okay with that. You know? Not to say I'm ecstatic about it, but there's, like, I think that's what happened. Well, the goddess thing was like, she had 2 teenage kids and she worked hospitals at night and she had lots of stress in her life. But there's a couple of women that I've dated I think, like, just like out of the gate, I think I've got a little bit of game. I'm like, imagine like a basketball player that drops 22 points in the first quarter and then fouls out in the second. And I'm like, yeah, that's me.
It's a good metaphor, man.
Yeah.
You were
So,
talking
yeah.
about like attractiveness, and I think you're gonna tell us about your line.
My line.
I forget.
Oh, the Mendoza line.
The Mendoza line, yes.
Oh, the Mendoza line. All right. Okay, so this is a baseball reference. And the only reason why I know about this, actually, this is kind of funny, is my ex's dad. We used to talk baseball together.
Oh.
He lived in Seattle during a lot of the bad years. And so Mendoza, I don't know his first name. He was a shortstop for the Mariners in like the 70s or 80s. And he was just good enough to stay in baseball in the major leagues. So there's this thing called the Mendoza line that they talk about, that if you're above it, you still have a shot at staying in the major leagues. If you go below that, then you automatically go to the minor leagues. So my Mendoza line is my ex. That's the way that I judge women that I date and sleep with and stuff. And okay, first of all, I'm not trying to brag about this or anything. It's going to come off as me being kind of pompous, but I'm just putting out stats right now. So my ex was the 4th woman that I've slept with in my life. The woman that I don't know if we're seeing each other still. I don't know. It's weird. I'll talk about it probably after she gets sick of me, and I'll give you guys the whole story. But she was the 18th woman that I've been with. So over a year and a half, 14 women. And 4 of those were below the Mendoza line. 10 of them were above the Mendoza line. So I think I'm doing pretty good.
Been busy.
That, Yeah, no, Yo. Okay. So Saturday, I'm seeing the woman that I don't know what's going on with. I keep on thinking that she's gonna ghost me or not text me back, but she keeps on texting me and asking me to hang out and we do things together. But she just seems genuinely disinterested. So I don't know what's going on there, but she's kind of hot. So I'm gonna just let it ride. And then Sunday, Hinge matched me with, well, they said, hey, so-and-so, think you might be a match. And there was a picture of Chicago, my hometown. So we talked a little bit, and she's coming up to my neck of the woods. She lives in another neighborhood in Seattle, and we're going to get drinks Sunday night.
That's great,
but
man.
Yeah, this leads me to my weird interaction today. So New Year's Eve, I was out with a couple friends, and I'm always on my phone, man, because I'm an addict like everybody else. So I thought it was really funny that Hinge is like, hey, you might be matched up with so-and-so. I think you'd be a good match. And I avoid anybody who's overtly political on their dating website. My ex was overly political. I just don't want to have those conversations. I've had conversations with women that I've dated about politics, and it's been a cool exchange of ideas, but that's like a 3rd or 4th date thing. I don't want it to be off the bat. And I don't really want to hear about how someone hates so-and-so or hates so-and-so. It's like, I don't really want to. So I didn't respond. I didn't do anything, but I said, I just kind of laughed. I'm like, hey, check this out. I mean, she's cute, but she clearly said, what was it? It was, her line is like, pushing the envelope on progressive politics through my art.
Wow.
Right? Which is like, no. I love artists. I have all the respect in the world for artists. I have no artistic ability whatsoever. I tried for years. Thanks, mom and dad, for paying for a ton of classes for painting and drawing and guitar and all these other things, because I really thought I wanted to be artistic, and I have no artistic talent whatsoever. So I totally appreciate that. But that line of pushing politics through art, I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me. I love art. I love
That's
like
what art's for, man.
I don't know, man. For
Not
different,
only, but I think that's a whole branch of art.
that's a branch of art, right? But I like God, Dali is a perfect example, right? Like his stuff was more psychedelic than political.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'll give you
You
that.
know, I like stuff with really bright colors and kind of insane images. Man, there's a couple of art shows that I've been to. I've been to the two Dali museums in Spain, and the one in Figueres, which is where he was born. It is insane. Like oh my god, like I was just walking around there, I was just like looking everywhere, like there's art on the ceiling, there's art on the walls. This is kind of what I am anyway. So I'm joking with my buddies and I'm like, yeah, you think she's a match? And we're kind of like, yeah, perfect, right? Yeah, you want to get back into a relationship with someone who's going to talk your ear off politics 24/7? I'm like, yeah, exactly. So we leave the bar that we're at 10:30. We're at my place, we're drinking, and it's like 11:30. So pull up my phone because it's New Year's Eve. And she freaking liked me. So her New Year's Eve between 10:30 and 11:30 is going on Hinge connecting with guys. I'm like, that's kind of sad. I'm going to give everyone a break because it's 2020, 2021, and not a lot of people are going out. A lot of people are staying home. But like, at least put up the illusion that your life is better than, you know, on New Year's Eve, you're on Hinge trying to get a date. I don't know, maybe I'm just vain. Like, I don't get on dating apps on Friday and Saturday night after 6. Like, I don't
Wow,
like I don't know, it's just a stupid rule that I have. I don't want
that
to come
that's a
off
big
this
swipe
just
time for hookups too, man.
well, I'm on Hinge, not Tinder though.
Okay,
So
okay, possibly.
Tinder's a totally different beast. And if I was on Tinder, I'd be like, do, 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 do. But Hinge is like, women tend to be a little more serious. And although I
Yeah,
do go
yeah.
on Facebook dating app because that is the goddamn wild west of dating. Such great openers as at least get to know me before eating out my ass.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one that I saw the other day. What are there some good ones? I got one which was a cartoon version of like a picture of Jasmine from Aladdin, right? I got one which is a up close picture of a bloodshot eye. Um,
Wow.
Occasionally I get straight dudes, which I think like Facebook's algorithm just really sucks. So that I don't care about. I'll
But you
just
like
swipe whenever.
a lot of different things.
Yeah, no, no. Facebook dating is weird.
I
Like,
had a chick hit me up to be a sugar daddy on Facebook dating.
oh yeah, yeah.
She was like a stripper, so fair enough, I
Oh
guess.
well, okay. And there's just a lot. Like, there's a lot of women that I really think are like they just have a very lesbian look to them, like the really short haircut and the big bulky body, and they're wearing plaid, and they like me, and I'm like, they realize that I'm a dude, right? There's a lot of like I'm scratching my head a little bit on some of these. But Hinge is the one that I primarily use. I've had a lot of success on Hinge. Actually, it's mind-blowing to me how much success I had, especially after Match. I mean, I met some amazing women on Match, but Match was a bust.
Hmm.
Um, Match was a lot of women who live in some of the bases that are about 2 hours south of Seattle, who got knocked up by a soldier looking for a sugar daddy to save them.
Wow.
Yeah. I I was getting all these. So there's something called, was it Fort Lewis McChord's a base, like an hour and a half, 2 hours south of Seattle, and I forget what the town right by it, but I was getting a ton of likes from women in that area, right? these are like really attractive women in their early mid-20s who have one or two kids. I was really, really confused by this. And I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna drive down 2 hours, for like a first date or something. Like, I'm sorry, I'm lazy. I have a 7 mile radius. That's the most I'm gonna travel on a first date.
Nice.
Um,
Mine's 9. So
9. Oh, nice. But you've broken yours though. I mean, that's new because I remember a couple of dates. You've gone out of your way, man.
I went to LA for that one chick, or actually two chicks, but that was
Yeah.
early on. I was still learning the apps. Actually, for any guys who watch this that are in their 40s or late 30s, I didn't have Tinder. I was actually excited when I was single, like I'm gonna try out Tinder finally.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and like you were saying that you weren't sure what you draw attractive wise. I wasn't sure if I could play on these apps, and it's been good. It took me probably 2 or 3 weeks of studying it to figure it out. But then the first time I got laid, that was a 22-year-old with some
Yo,
daddy issues.
you need to talk about this one because this one was crazy.
Hey, what do you want to hear about, or what in particular?
Well, I know, but I think our audience would want to know. So let me say, you were talking about her a little bit, and I think my line is, she's going to stab you at some point, and it's going to be your own fault because she's crazy.
Yeah, she has some issues, but she was real. We had a good time, but I don't know. We met the first night at a hotel. It's COVID time, so
Yeah.
we were gonna get drinks. We went at the hotel, and we ended up hooking up that night. She's highly into BDSM. She likes to be a slave. She was flirting with me and her roommate. She hooks up with her roommate with other people. I remember talking to you and our other buddy, and I was like, I gotta leave. I think I'm gonna have a threesome tonight. It didn't pan out. She didn't want to share me. Uh,
Oh.
yeah, she was a wild thing. She was fun.
And how old is her mom?
Oh, I think a year older than me or something. Was that what it was? It's getting foggy.
Yeah, but what was your reaction when you heard that?
That's hot. It was hot. Yeah.
Yo, dude, Jesus, I remember you telling me this, and I'm like, oh my God. And didn't she like, I don't know, something in high school? Like, I don't know, you told me some story about her.
She was hooking up with like a coach or a teacher or something. It's getting hazy for me now, but yeah,
Wow.
she's a wild thing. She had a number
Yeah.
of crazy hookups. Oh, you know what? I know. I think at community college she hooked up with a coach there.
Okay.
But yeah, no, she has a lot of wild stories. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
wild thing.
So,
She likes older guys.
hey, more power to her, man. Yeah. You definitely have a larger I'm pretty I mean I go outside of my range, but I generally stay between 35 and 45.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think I look for certain things. I don't know what they are, but I think you're definitely into younger, or you've
Yeah.
dated younger women.
Most of the
Um,
people I connected with are about 30, like 30, like 29 to 32.
yeah,
That seems to be just, there's a vibe, I think I'm a little
yeah.
playful, a little silly. The women I met my age wanted to get married. It's like, I'm not looking for that right away.
Oh yeah, dude. I tell women straight up, if you got timelines for marriage and kids, no, I am not the guy. Got me out of a date with a woman who this is when I was on Match, and she put that she was fit and in shape. Turns out that shape was round. Yeah, yeah. Um,
It's about
and I mean,
50
I've
50.
never what?
50
Yeah.
50 that pictures are accurate or not.
Oh no, you totally you learn how to tell um pretty quickly. Like yeah, the fit, yeah. Yeah. I look at the arms if they're wearing short sleeve
Yeah,
shirts. I feel like that's a good giveaway.
it is.
Um, although it doesn't always work. I didn't end up going out with this woman, but it was weird. I woke up one like Saturday morning with a like from this woman, and she's like, "Hey, hot stuff," like straight off the bat, and I'm like, "This is interesting." Okay, so we flirt a little bit back and forth, and we just never end up going out. Like, she's like, well, like, I don't know, it gets complicated really quickly. Like, she's like, well, I'm on this no drinking thing right now, but you can have a beer and I'll have coffee. And I'm like, no, this is weird. She doesn't know this, but I actually ran into her at a later point. I was dating a woman at the time, the woman that I was dating in September, October, and we were just kind of walking back from like a pizza place. And I'm like, she looks familiar, the face. And I looked at my dating app, like, oh, that's her, except for the body was, yo, she was a big one. She was a big woman. So sometimes you just get unlucky. Oh, but I need to get back to the New Year's Eve woman who liked me. So
Yeah.
I was joking around with my buddies. I'm like, let's call this a social experiment, because like, I know that there's no way I'm going to click with this woman. I don't, whatever. Right. So we text a little bit back and forth, and I asked her for drinks, and she's like, well, why don't we do a phone call first? I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I don't have a problem doing that. I've done that a fair amount with women. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Talk a little bit on the phone before going out, because if nothing's there, you save time. And she FaceTimes me, man. Like, I'm like, what? Like, she's all dressed up and like makeup and stuff, and I'm, in my hoodie, and my hair's all messed up, and I'm like, and my phone's on that funny angle where it's like looking up my nose. But no, she was cool. Like, we talked for a while, and she seemed to be into me. But I'm like, I don't know where this is going. So I didn't really think much about it. So I texted her like a week later, like, hey, how's your week going? She's like, it's going good. I'm like, hey, do you want to grab a drink like Thursday or Friday? I don't hear anything back from her. And if you don't hear anything back by a certain period of time, I always know that the answer is going to be like some lame excuse or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So, she said, it's COVID and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm not going to, I mean, I think it's a cop. I don't think she's really freaked out, because if you're really freaked out at COVID, I think you're going to say that on dating apps pretty quickly. Like, if I see a woman saying, let's make sure we're on the same page for social distancing, I'm like, nope, but she said that, and I'm like, okay. And I just said, yeah, no worries. Right. 2 hours later, she texts me and she's like, yeah, I'm over COVID. Let's do something.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, what about tomorrow night? 7:00. And she responds, oh, I was hoping we could do something during daytime. And I'm like, dude, it's Seattle in the winter. The sun doesn't come out till 8 and it disappears by 4, and I'm working. And this weekend I'm busy on stuff. So I just find, I'm like, that might be a little challenging. Ha ha ha. If it happens, it happens. That was my response. And she's like, okay, cool. I'm like, what's someone's thought process on this? Like, I want to know what she's thinking, that she came on to me. Like, I mean, she was the one who initiated it, right? And she kind of did most of the legwork. And then she asked me about COVID, and I'm like, I don't get upset if a woman says no. I don't take it personally. Like, I've been on dates with amazingly gorgeous women, and it's gone great, and we've dated and slept with them. And I've been on dates with really ugly women who, in my mind, I'm like, oh, how am I going to let them down? And then as soon as the waiter comes by, if anything else, and they're like, nope, just a check. And then they left. And I'm like, that makes my life easier. So, I don't take it personal, but the whole thing of like, okay, so what, was she giving me some sort of weird test, like seeing how I'd react to COVID? Like, but I'm not going to pressure someone into doing something they don't want to do. And as soon as I said, no worries, all of a sudden she's like, oh, let's do something. I'm like, what? There's people out there. I don't think there's a woman thing. I'm sure there's guys who do this too. And non-binary people probably have their own craziness with it. But I just like, what's going on through someone's head when they do that?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious, like, what? I don't know. I think very linearly when it comes to dating.
Was it the fact that she didn't want to meet for COVID, or the fact that she wanted to meet during the day, or? What about
Well,
it?
it was a weird thing. It was she didn't want to meet to COVID, and as soon as I said that's okay, all of a sudden she's like, no, I want to meet.
Yeah, who knows, man? Like something could have changed in her life. Maybe she, you know,
Dude.
hormones changed and she was horny. Maybe she had another person that was her she was trying to meet with, and that person went away. You know, who knows, man?
Yeah, I mean, she could have tried. She could have tried. She's might be trying to back pocket me. I mean, I've done that with women too. I think everybody does it. I
Actually,
never.
you
What?
know what it reminds me of though too is like you
What?
can't be the first one to say like, oh, don't worry about condoms. Like if you're like meeting with a girl, you're like, by the way, I don't use condoms, or like, nope. But if you're like, hey, I got a condom, and then there's like some problems, you know, they're like, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it.
Whoa! All right, all right, all right. Yo. This is where me and you totally disagree, because I am all about, I So there was one woman, we both got tested, and she was older than me, so the chances of her getting pregnant were nothing. So after we got tested and I showed her the results and she showed me hers, but that was like the only woman that I've not used condoms with. I am, dude, I do not want to get anything,
Yeah, no.
you know?
And I'm trying to like going forward, I have to use condoms with anybody. Um,
Yeah.
so I feel you.
I'm not ragging. I'm just like, when I hear guys saying that, I'm like, oh, but I get it, man. Like, I think it's easy in theory. Um, and I also think like you're more I mean, we both obviously like sex, but I'm just happy to have sex with someone that like I don't hate, or not hate. Hate's the wrong
Oh
word.
man.
Dude, that was so the wrong word. Um, someone, someone that all right. How am I gonna say this? My ex was cold in certain areas that other women are not,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't really understand the reason behind it. But because she was cold in that area, it didn't really do much for my sex life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when normal women are normal about it, I'm very, very excited. So I have no problem putting on condoms. For people who, might have had slept with more women before I slept with my ex, and had better sexual experiences, they probably expect more out of it. But I'm just like, woo, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wearing condoms is definitely the right thing. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, especially in my past, I've been kind of lax with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I got to turn that around.
Man, it's your thing, man. I'm not gonna lecture you on it. It ain't my job. I think in this day and age, it's like, I mean, I still have cigarettes from time to time. I know they're horrible for me. Like, I'm under no illusions that like they're gonna make me like healthier or stronger or live longer. I mean, it's a dirty, disgusting habit. There's no reason for me, but every once in a while, I'm just stressful day or like something's going on, and I'll be like, oh, I need a pack. I need a cigarette.
I blame
You
you,
know.
man. I'm still vaping. It's because you told me like when I called you to tell you I was getting divorced, you're like, go out and get a pack right now. Like get a pack of cigarettes and you have to get a dog.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm still
yeah,
stuck.
yeah, yeah.
This
Well,
month is the month I get off.
this is, yeah, all right. Yeah, dude, go for it, man. My trick is I never officially quit smoking, so I can go months without it. That's what kind of has kept me from, because when I feel like I can never have a cigarette again, oh, I start jonesing for one. But I'm like, okay, I can have one if I want to. So
Yeah.
I'll go like 2, 3 months without one, and either I'll get really drunk, or I'll just break up with a girl, or she'll more likely break it off with me, and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna have a cigarette.
Yeah.
And that's that. Yeah.
I had a buddy that I used to work out with. He'd come over and we'd smoke, and I'd hit 3 back to back, and something's changed. I can't even finish a full cigarette anymore. I was smoking hundreds. I can't even finish a regular sized individual cigarette anymore. Something happens about 3/4 of the way through, and my stomach's just like,
It's probably not a bad thing that your body's telling you.
this all
Yeah.
day though. This I can just constant.
Yeah. There's a reason why I don't vape, because I know I know a lot of people, especially when I was living down in Phoenix, a lot of people who vaped. And They didn't smoke cigarettes, but they vaped all the time. It's, you know, it's doesn't have the same nasty taste to it.
Yeah, doesn't
Um,
smell. You can do it indoors.
yeah, exactly. So, but hey, man, like the way that I look at it in terms of bad habits is you got to do one or two dangerous things in your life or socially risky things. Because if not, you're basically where we were, where you were, 10 months ago and I was 2 years ago. And, what you feel is safe, but really is slowly killing you and making you miserable,
Yeah, yeah.
you
I,
know?
I definitely need a little throughout my life.
Yeah. And as for, a buddy of mine, this friend of a friend, we're friends on Facebook. He friended me like after I met him or something. I'm like, yeah, cool. So when I met him, he was married and his wife was just the most miserable person that I've ever
Um,
met. She just always seemed unhappy and everything. So he moved to St. Louis for work and she said, yeah, I'll follow you out there. And he moved out to St. Louis and she's like, yeah, I'm not coming out there. Right.
wow.
Yeah, so yeah, they split. Story does have a happy ending. He is married with a kid. Like he got within maybe a year or two married and kids, and he was making jokes about having his wedding at Costco because that's where he picked up his wife. Cool, right? But about a year ago, she posted this picture of her and a friend, and they were just smiling and laughing and happy. No subtitles or anything, to no description or anything. And I'm like, I wonder if that's my ex. Maybe she's like happy now, and that would be cool. And I don't know, man. I just,
I fully agree
I
with
wish
you.
her the best of luck. I do. I don't want to ever see her again. I don't want anything to have a role in her life in any way, shape, or form. And as I said before, if she got hit by a truck, I don't think I'd be sad about it. I mean, I'd be very indifferent. I'd be like, oh, that sucks. Someone got hit by a truck, but it wouldn't be like, I wouldn't go to her funeral or say anything like that. But I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I hope she finds happiness, whatever. All I know is that I feel really, really good about what's going on. And I have like all these notes of things that I've said, and we've kind of just randomly like gone off into 1,001 places.
I expect that to happen. I think that's what this will be.
Yeah. So I do want to add this on here that if anybody's listening to this and they have a similar experience with divorce where it was actually a really happy experience for them, where they moved on and it's good, like, join our group and tell us a little bit about your story and we'll have you on. I want people of all shapes and sizes and genders and whatnot coming on and talking about this thing. Divorce kind of has this stigma in our society. Is that you failed, your marriage failed. And no, your marriage didn't fail. Something changed. You don't go from being incredibly happy to someone to being unhappy with them because of something that you've done. There's some emotional reaction. There's something that got sparked in there at some point, which drove the two of you apart, at least for me. So, I mean, I originally wanted to call this Rock and Divorce, but you thought that sounded too much like an 80s rock band. So I gave you that one. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you're making me think
Yeah.
on it. I agree that, I hope my ex also finds happiness. We share a daughter together, and so we have to have a relationship. And I know things got really weird. I think we opened up talking about coronavirus, and we were locked in the same house, and we started off actually pretty well during that time.
Nice.
We got to have a lot of conversations locked in that house to kind of like bookend our relationship and kind of review a couple of things. But once I started dating, that really hurt her. And she moved out I like this. I think you're there for this. There was like a week where I had 5 dates or 4 dates or something.
Yeah.
I pushed the limit. Um, and she got out of there. We were talking about like maybe staying in the same house for 6 months.
Yo, hold on just a sec. I gotta mute myself real quick.
No
Sorry.
problem. I'll just keep talking because this will be in the recording. But we talked about staying in the house for 6 months, and once I started dating, she jumped out of there within about a week and a half. I just kept talking, Aaron. I'll fill
You
the
just kept
recording.
talking. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I had to. Yeah, I turned off the laundry. I rent out my extra room, and the guy put it in. And he came out, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I was gonna turn it on again, and I will once I'm done." So yeah, I just wanted to let him know
No
that.
problem.
But
I was
please
just
continue
saying,
talking.
I was just saying, we're planning to be together or to live in the same house for about 6 months. And then once I started dating, she got out in about a week and a half. Because I think it just made her too, I don't know, it hurt her, made her uncomfortable. So she couldn't hang. Um, and, since then she's really tried to minimize her interactions with me. It's been very tough to like even just say, hey, like, how you doing? Good morning, kind of basic interactions. So I hope in time that she finds somebody that she can feel safe opening up to, find some emotional intimacy, and lives her best life. Because I think that's out there for her. I just hope she finds it.
I don't know if my ex is capable of that, to be honest. So I have two neighbors. One of them, she's awesome. We hang out a lot. We talk about our dating lives a fair amount. She's kept me fed. She always has tons of food at her house. If it wasn't for her, I'd probably be like 90 pounds at this point. And then the other one who's really close with my ex, and she thinks that I don't know that she thinks she resents me because she wishes my ex stayed in, and she thinks that I don't know this. Um, so she tells me things. So every pre-corona, every couple of months we'd go out and grab a drink, and she can't hold her liquor. So after a beer or two, she'd tell me all the shit going on with my ex. And that's how I found out that my neighbor was actually spying on me for my ex. One of my
Wow.
buddies who ghosted me after we split and mysteriously came back into my life was also trying to pick up details. It was fucking weird. Like I didn't hear from him for months, and he texted me right around the time November 2019 because I was going to Morocco for 2 weeks for vacation, and he started texting me all this. I'm like, yeah, let's grab a drink, let's catch up, and he started saying all these really intimate details of my divorce, which I didn't tell anyone except for my parents.
No.
He started asking me about my love life. She's like, oh yeah, that he hangs out there a couple times. I've seen him over at your ex's place. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But so if my ex, so when we split, she mentioned that my ex was having fun dating. A friend of hers after her divorce got on Tinder and just went through like a line of like guys that are in their mid 20s. She was like early 40s and stuff, and just like going on all these dates and sleeping with all the guys. And she's like, I like them. They're eager and easy to train. So she claimed my ex was doing the same thing, and I didn't believe it. Then a buddy of mine who's in his mid 20s is on Tinder. He's like, yeah, I can just filter women by age and neighborhood, and we can see. And there's not a lot of women in their late 30s, early 40s on Tinder in Seattle. Like
No.
it's dry market. He swept no through the whole thing in 15 minutes, and I showed a picture of what she looks like, and she's like, yeah, she's not on there. And my neighbor who's spying on me admitted that she was only on there for a brief minute. But I said, but she's really, really happy how she is. And I was talking to a buddy of mine. He's
That's
like,
good.
you were here with her for 20 years. Has she ever been happy? And I'm like, oh, I hope she does, man, but I don't think she's capable of it, man.
Funny
I
because
really.
you told me you wanted to find your ex's profile, and I was like, oh snap, I can probably find mine because we're in the same region. Yeah, it took like 3 swipes, and there her profile was.
Oh, no! Oh, that. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. What was your reaction?
Um. I had already. We had we had a linked iTunes account, so I saw like her Hinge charges.
Yeah.
I thought she was like buying booze, so she was trying to find somebody.
Yeah.
who knows for what, but she's trying to find somebody. So I already knew she was on it, but it was funny. It was interesting to see, how she marketed herself. And she had a picture of her daughter on there. So whatever. I wish her well. I hope she finds her.
Good, man. That's good. That's good,
Yeah.
man. Yo, I think we've been on for almost an hour
We're
and a half or 2 hours.
just about an hour, I think, recording. So.
Oh, an hour recording. Okay, cool. So I think we're at a good stopping point.
For sure.
Do what you want to do with this. If you want to put it on as is, great. If you want to edit it out,
No.
go for it.
No, let's leave them raw. Just put them up.
Just do it like, was it Rogaine style, where he just puts everything up, and you come in the middle of the podcast and you're like, what's going on? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe next time I'll pay more attention to the notes, or I can actually just start talking about dating and sex and stuff. There's some interesting things I think I have to say. We both have to say about sex post divorce.
For sure. Absolutely.
It's
great.
Not like I'll shut up now because I can talk forever.
No, that's great, man. I think just a reminder that we have the Facebook group. The links will be down below, and have people join us and let us know if they want to come on to share their stories. Great. It's been fun, man. Right. Let's keep doing it.
Yeah, let's keep doing this. And if you're out there and you're listening to this and you feel like you're going through uncertainty because the person that you've been with is not working out, listen to us, man. And you can put a positive spin on it really, really easily. And you could be amazed by how much better your life gets, how quickly it is. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess Aaron Katz signing off. I don't know. We need like a goodbye thing or something.
I'll go with peace for the now. So peace.
Peace. All right.